before we start, so primarily this chapter, this is the first chapter of your SAT preparation. So if you go to Khan Academy, there is a topic, there's a syllabus called Digital SAT Prep. So this is the first chapter of that. After the basic introduction where they talk about all the idea behind concepts and all those. This is the first chapter which is for algebra foundation, that's what you call it. So this one, we talk about equations, expressions, inequalities, and then go to linear equations. So first of all, when you say equation, what does it mean? Between these two, there is a difference, very basic difference. Here you have an equal to sign, here you don't have it. This guy is called expression. This is called equation, where you have the equal to sign. Very basic concept, but whenever you see this without an equal to sign, it should ring the bell that yes, this is expression, not equation. Okay? And when I have this is equation. Now, why I'm talking about both of them? This is just a combination of few terms. We call it terms, okay, in maths. So this is an expression where you don't have equal to sign. This has one. This is one term. This is two terms. If I have something like 6x plus 5y plus 7 as an expression, this has how many terms? Three terms actually. So every term is something which is separated by an operation. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Here you have 1, 2. Now, if you look at the terms, let's see if I don't have this. This and this are expression with two terms. This has two terms, this has two terms. Yeah? It has power 2, but it has only one power. But that doesn't make a difference. When you count in terms, you just count the things which is separated by the operations. Okay. So let's only worry about equation for now. We're not going to expression. I was just giving a brief of the difference between these two because mostly we see people get confused between an expression and an equation. Okay. Very simple difference. If you have equal to sign, that's an equation. If you don't have it, it's expression where you're expressing there are some terms. That's it. Okay. So far so good?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at an equation. I mean hereafter we'll only talk about the equation. Okay. So if I talk about this and I talk about this, what is the difference? I don't ask complicated questions, just think about it and tell me what do you understand from these two. What is the difference in this one and this one?
One has two variables and the other one has one.
Wonderful, that's what I wanted to hear. So, depending on how many variables you are dealing with, there are different types of equations. This is an equation with one variable, this is an equation with two variables. If I have something like this is an equation with three variables. Very simple, right? Now, let's say if somebody says, I have an equation this. Find out the value of x. Difficult? Easy, right? Very easy. What you will do? You will keep everything on one side. I mean, similar things on one side. That's how you deal with it, right? Let's say if you have to deal with an operation where you have to count mangoes and oranges. So you'll keep mangoes on one side, count them, do whatever you have to do, keep the oranges on one side, do whatever you have to do, and then you bring your conclusion. Here also, when you're talking about this is something that has a variable, this is a constant, this is a constant. So what you would do is bring all the constants one side, or together bring all the variables of similar type one side. Since you have only one variable here, what you will do, you will keep variable on one side of equal to sign, and this guy comes here. What it becomes? Here it is positive, it becomes negative. Yeah. So I mean simple basic operation, but I'll keep engaging you, okay, by asking stupid question. Don't worry. Okay. So now this is, so value of x will be 18 divided by 6. Yeah. So whatever is multiplied here becomes division. Multiplication here becomes division. So basically the basic thumb rule is these are the enemies: plus and minus, multiplication, division. So if plus, if something with a plus sign goes to the other side of the equal to sign, this way to this way or this way to this way, it changes. Okay. So plus becomes minus, minus becomes plus. Very simple. Here what I have is, let's say after doing all this, it becomes 6x it becomes 6x equals to 35 minus 17 is 18. So 6x I can always write as 6 into x, correct? Equal to 18. So this is multiplication. If it goes this side, that becomes division. So if I keep x on one side of equal to, it goes this side and becomes a division. So here is multiplication, it will become, becomes division. This is simple, right? This should not be bothering us, but I'm just doing it for making sure that I'm not leaving the maths halfway through. Okay. Now this becomes 3. This part is simple. Now let's say you have to deal with and somebody says solve these two equations. Before you try solving it, you have to again go back to the formula that I was telling you. Yeah, remember what was tran? Did I tell you about tran in last class? No. Okay, tran is a theory that I have developed, and for my kids to kind of remember or follow on one pattern. T stands for trust. Okay, so whenever you have a sum to solve, yes, I can do it. That trust you have to have. Okay, never ever give up, regardless of how difficult that sum is. Okay, if anybody can do it, I can do it. Let's try. We'll see. Then comes R. R comes for read, and read and read and read. Meaning, when you are looking at a sum, don't try solving it in the first go. Read that question enough that you actually get tired of reading it. When you start believing that I have read it enough, there is no other information that I would find by reading it out again one more time. So that is R, TR. Then comes A, which is called analysis. So analyze the problem. Now you have read the question. Now you have to do the analysis, meaning, okay, by reading this question, these are the things I found. Now, okay, this is asking me to solve this equation, or this is asking me to find the area, this is asking me to find a perimeter, or whatever. Then you say, okay, do I know how to solve it? Do I know the formula for it? Do I have the approach for it? And then, whatever you have read in the question, that piece plus what you know, how you will bring them together. That is your analysis phase. Meaning, this is the stage where you are actually deciding on how you will go about solving it. You are making your blueprint. That, okay, I will first do this, I'll do this, then I'll do this, because I know this. And this is what the question says. So, this is where you are making your blueprint. I call it analyze or analysis. Okay? And then comes N. So, I'm not a brand ambassador for Nike, but Nike says just do it. So, once you have done all these three, then you just do it. You don't have to apply any brain, because this is when you are applying your brain. This is when you are collecting information. When you come to this stage, it should be a cakewalk. And what it means is, you have to go in this sequence. Trust. You don't have to keep on trusting yourself every day. Whenever your question comes, just start believing that, okay, I know maths, I can deal with any type of math. If I know it, I will solve it. If I don't, I will learn it. So that's a trust you have to have for yourself only once, but keep that in your mind. That if anybody can solve it, that is me. And then you start. You may not be able to solve many of the sums sometimes, okay, that's okay. But don't discourage yourself ever. Okay? So that is the key part. R is read, meaning whenever a question comes, if you read the same question 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you will realize that that question has become half complex against what it was looking in the outlook. Okay? Try doing that, okay? Whenever any question that you pick up, just try reading that poor guy 2, 3, 4 times. Read it one more time. Okay, let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. Let me read one more time. And when you are reading it, whatever you make out from that, take a note from that. We'll do that, okay? Reading makes the question much easier. This is when you apply your thoughts together and then Nike. So that's the formula I use. So it has no relation with algebra, trigonometry, geometry or anything. It is one common formula that works for all possible types of sums. Okay? Now, so here in this question, when this question comes to you, okay, 5x plus 3y equal to 17, x equals to 2. And I am required to solve for x and y. They are two variables, right? Now, when you read this question, what you... Okay, 5x plus 3y equal to 7, x equal to 2. I have to solve it for x and y. Okay, 5x plus 3y equal to 17, x equals to 2. When you read it second time, you will start laughing at yourself. Oh, why do I have to solve it for x? X is already solved. The value is already given. So half the question is solved actually. Now, that is when reading has actually taken care of half the problem. Now when you go to the analysis part, that is where you will think, okay, I have value of x equals to 2. Here this is the equation. So out of the two variables I have, one variable's value I have already got. If I substitute the value of this one, then it will become an equation with one variable because other variable has a value already known. Okay? So this is the analysis part says, okay, so now since I know the value of this one, I will substitute it here and see what happens. Then comes Nike. Okay? So up till now you have not touched a pen because the ink is drying right now. So you have not touched the pen. You have solved half the problem. You have already made your plan for how you are going to solve it, and then you recall Nike and do it. Okay, so x is 2. Let me put 2 in place of x plus 3y equal to 17. So this becomes 5 into 2 10 plus 3y equals 17. Now I'll keep similar things on one side. So I'll keep 3y on one side and then 17 minus 10 equals 7. So 3y equals to 7, y equals to 7 by 3, whatever. So this is just an example of how do you solve two variables. And from this, one thing that you might want to remember or infer is when you are solving for two variables, one equation will not be sufficient. If somebody says solve this for x and y, trust me, you will not be able to solve it. You might be able to find out some combination of possible answers. It's okay, if x is 1, then it becomes 5 into 1 plus 3y equal to 17, and then becomes 3y equal to 17 minus 5, that is 12, y equals to 4. So this is one possible answer. When we are saying x is 1, y is 4. This is one possible answer, but is this the answer? This is one of the answers. So to get the exact answer, you would need as many number of equations. So if you have to solve for two variables, you would need two equations. So if you have this, let's say x equals to 2, or you have 3x plus 2y equal to 15. Beat this. Okay? In both the cases you will be able to solve. Meaning, simple interpretation from this is, if you have two equations, you'll be able to solve for two variables. If you have one equation, you'll be able to solve only for one variable. Okay. Here, if I look at these two combinations, this is one equation, this is another equation. I have two variables, I can solve it. If I have there are two equations and there are two variables, x and y. I can try solving it. There is a possibility. But if somebody says this you'll not be able to get an exact solution for this one. So next time when somebody says that solve x plus 15 equal to 12, will you be able to solve it without you trying to solve it? You will just look at, okay, this equation has one variable and this is one equation. I should be able to solve it. Then you can try solving it, okay? I mean, move to 15 to that side, whatever. Yeah. And stop me if class gets boring. I'll get you a glass of water. Yeah. This is post lunch, right? I know. I keep drinking water to keep myself awake. Do you need water?
No.
No. But I'll keep water for you, just in case. Give one to daddy or just. Alright. So far we have not done anything difficult or magical. We have just understood the difference between an equation and expression. That is one. Then we were just trying to find out how do we solve the equation with the basic steps. Yeah. How do we deal with them when we are moving them across the equal to sign, be it a plus, minus, multiplication, division. And the third thing that we have learned is that if you are given a situation where you have to solve for two variables, you would need two equations. I mean, two equations meaning two equations with similar variables. Okay, if I have 3x plus y equal to 16 and then 2x plus 3z equal to 15, I'll not be able to solve. Because there is one variable, two variable, this is same, this is the third variable. So we are talking about three variables now. So I would need three equations. So if anybody gives you like this, you will say this is incomplete question. I cannot solve this. Okay. Now, so this is the basic of equation expression, solving the equation. Now, what was the next topic? Can you read that?
Types of linear equations.
Yeah. So type of linear equation, that is where we learn about the equations, the linear equations with one variable, two variables, three variables. So what we have seen so far is one equation with one variable and two variables, right? Like when you look at equation like this is equation with one variable. When you look at equation with something like this is an equation with two variables. If you see something like this is a linear equation with three variables. Now, I've been saying linear equation, linear equation, linear equation. What is a linear equation?
It creates a linear graph.
Partly correct, it does. Linear equation makes a line. So if you look at just the spelling part of it, right? And that is why I keep claiming that math is the easiest of all subjects. If you look at linear, this is only subject, math is only subject which which I like the most. And I feel that this is the only subject where you don't have to trust your teacher. You always do it to believe it. Okay. With other subjects, somebody says, okay, something happened in the history. If the teacher says so, you have to believe. You don't have a way to prove it. But in maths, you can always do it. Now look at linear equation. Break it down. First 4 characters says line. So any linear equation, when you try plotting it on a graph paper, it will make a straight line. That's why it is called linear equation. And we'll learn about that, okay? Don't worry. But, so this is one part of it. When you say linear equation, meaning an equation, when you plot it on a graph, it makes a straight line. How? We'll do it. We'll do it, then only you have to believe. You don't believe it blindly, okay? Okay. Now, so different types of linear equation, right? Now, let's look at some fun part of it. So, let's say you have an equation like this, plus 7 equal to something, a blank, okay, plus 8. If I put, this is a blank, okay, I don't know what it is. I mean, we can choose what we want to put here. If I put a 5x here, what will happen? This is still an equation. We'll be able to solve it. We'll probably move 3x to this side, 8 to that side. It gives us some solution, right? I mean, if you want, we can try solving it. Let's solve it. Let's put all x on one side. So I'll bring this guy here. This is plus, so this will become minus here. And move numbers to this side. So 8, the 8, 7 comes this side, becomes minus 7. Yeah? So this is 3x minus 5x equals minus 2x. Yeah? Equals 1. X becomes 1 by 2. This is minus 2, right? So this comes here. So this becomes minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2 as in negative half. Yeah. So we could somehow solve it, right? Now let's bother this guy. Let's bother this sum. I had a blank space here. If I put a 3x here, what happens?
You put 3x and 2x together?
I'm sorry? Yeah. What happens here is, if I have this, right? Let's try solving it. So this guy comes this side, 8 remains this, 7 comes here. Yeah? 3x minus 3x equals what? 0? Equals 1. Does it make sense? No. So this situation is called making an equation have 0 solution. You don't have a solution here actually. You are just messing around with the sum. So whenever you have an equation or a situation where you are being asked to find out or fill in the blanks with some value so that the equation have no solution, this is what you will do. So meaning whatever you have the variable, you will make the variable 0. Variable part 0. So let's say, let me give you another situation. Okay? 7y plus something equals to 3 minus 8. I have to fill something here. What will I fill here to make this equation give 0 solution? I will just put minus 7y here. So that way I am knocking off all the variable component of this equation itself. When I do that, I make this equation have 0 solution actually. Yeah? This is the standard practice that you will follow. If somebody says 3y squared plus 7 equal to something plus 9, fill in the blanks so that this equation has 0 solution.
3y squared.
Yeah? Very simple. Okay? And this kind of questions will come in SAT. Remember that. I have seen that enough. Okay? When I was doing practice test, right? Before I started teaching you guys, right, I went through the entire Khan Academy for SAT prep. I gave exam by myself, okay, not on the online this thing, but on Khan Academy. So I saw there were questions asked for this one also. I mean, there's no guarantee, but this is part of the syllabus. Now, another situation. If I have 3x plus 7 equals to, let's say 2x plus something, okay, and I put a 7 here, what happens?
X equals 8. Yeah.
So I will get this guy here, 3x equal to 2x. This doesn't look right. Yeah? This equation is not right, correct? But if I have this and then I have a blank here, if I put this as 7, what happens? 3x equals to 3x, that we can say. In this scenario, you will have infinite solution for this equation. When it says 3x equals to 3x, that means x equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, you can think of any number. It's 3x is 3x, right? So there are unlimited possibility of solutions in this case. Unlike the previous one where we were saying that when I take out all the variables, what I have is only constant, and that gives you zero solution for the equation, from the equation. In this kind of scenario, when somebody says x equals to x, this is a universal truth. Now you can just play with it. You put 1 here, you put 1 here, 2 here, 2 here. You can have endless options that you can choose from. Yeah. So when you have this kind of a situation, this gives you indefinite solution. That's one of the topic, right? When I was saying that altering the equation to get zero solution or indefinite solution. So this is what altering I was talking about. So again, just to recap this part, if I have an equation like in the previous case we made the variable 0. We kind of knocked out the variable part, right, by making both the sides equal. Here the variable part is same. If I make the constant 0, meaning if I put a 3 here, it gives me endless options. So this is where I'm altering this equation, okay, to get indefinite solution. Okay. So these are and this one you'll be able to practice. So basically in this class, whatever we learn, right? I'm not sure if you have seen this in Khan Academy. That will be our homework. Okay. So whatever we learn here, I would want you to go and every chapter has like 4, 5, 6 sums. Okay. It doesn't take more than 5, 10, 15 minutes. So if you have understood it well, you'll be able to quickly do it. So after every chapter, once you go home, try doing the unit test within that. So if you go, so yeah, in the Khan Academy, I'll show you where you find that. So there's a machine called, if you can open it right now, can you open the Khan Academy in your this one? I'll just show you where to go always. You can probably bookmark that. Go to google.com, Khan Academy. Are you able to open it?
Yes.
Khan Academy. And okay. So Khan Academy SAT Prep. If you search for that, if you go to this site, here. So there are 3 lines here at the top. Here, yeah. test prep. Inside that first one, digital city. Okay. And when you go to right now, we are doing the first chapter. Okay. First chapter is in the second one, not the first one. Foundation algebra. Okay. Inside that, right now, we are doing this one, solving linear equation and inequalities. Okay. So after this one, you have up next for you. Try. When you click on this one, it will give you some questions. Okay, that you can solve by yourself. And that is the assignment part. And I would want you to do that once you go home. Not right now. I mean, once I have told you. So after watching the video, just try solving those sums, and if you're able to solve it with ease, that means you have understood it. If there's something missing, we'll revise that in the class. So this is the altering part of it. Okay, altering the equations to get zero solution or indefinite solution. What is the next topic?
Solving inequalities.
Inequalities. Okay, so let's look at equation and inequalities. So let's say when I don't have equal to sign, those are called inequalities. Okay, so look at this equation. Oops, sorry. These two. Here it says equal to 10, meaning I will solve it and find the exact value of x. Here in this case, I will solve it, but it will say this part is greater than this. So whatever possible value of this side, left hand side, is greater than 10 are the possible answers. So let's try solving this guy and this guy. Let's see what happens. 2x plus 5 equals to 10. So 2x will be equal to 10 minus 5. And just watch me carefully. When I am doing it, right, I am doing it like I am telling a story. I am going step by step. I am not consuming anything halfway through. So I said 2x plus 5 equals to this. So 2x equals to 10 minus 5. I move this guy. Now 2x equals, I will say 10 minus 5 equals to 5. Then x equals, this is 2 into x. So now x, I am taking this guy to this side. So multiplication becomes division. This is the value. Okay. It's okay if you are writing one extra step, but if you miss somewhere and when you are kind of trying to revise it, if you don't write all the steps, it will be difficult to review. Okay. So it's a good practice to always do some like telling a story. You are telling this story to me. I am telling this story to you. Tomorrow when you are doing it, you are telling this to somebody who is going to examine your paper. Yeah. Now we solve it for equal to situation. Now let's look at inequalities. So if I have 2x plus 5 is greater than 10, I will treat this guy like equal to sign only. I will just go step by step. So 2x, instead of this, I mean equal to, I am saying this, that's fine. I made this guy move. Okay. So 2x is greater than 5. That means x is greater than 5 by 2. I am literally treating this guy like equal to sign. Yeah. Just the meaning is different. In the previous case, I got value of x equal to 5 by 2. Here I got x is greater than 5 by 2. Meaning any value which is above this is my answer. If I say x equals to 3, that is a possible answer. If I say x equals to 5, that's a possible answer. So inequality deals with same thing in a little different way. Like when you say equal to, means equal to, it gives you exact value, it's equal. When you say greater than, it's greater than. If you have something like this, then you are including 5 by 2 also as an answer. And then you have 3, then you have 4, whatever. Yeah. So this is the only thing that we have to kind of keep in mind. That when I am dealing with inequalities, I just have to interpret it correctly. That's all. And I will do everything the same way like I will do with equal to sign. No change there. Okay. So it should not confuse us. It's just that the way we read it changes. If here I say 2x equals to 5, so x equals to 5 by 2. Here I am saying 2x is greater than 5, whatever it was. If it was this, my story would have changed. Right? I say math is to like a story. So that's why my story would have changed. Yeah? So this would have been, oops. Okay? So 2x would have been less than 5. X would have been less than 5 by 2. Yeah? So here in this case, what are the possible values of x? Maybe -1, -2. I mean, as far as you can go. 1. This is 2.5. So 1, maybe 2 also was there. 2.25 was also there. But things which are less than 5, half, 2.5 basically. Yeah? So everything happens the same way. Only difference being my story changes. Yeah? So keep in mind, math is a subject which you can convert into a story. Or you can convert a story into math. That is what is about word problem. Okay? So let me give you some stupid examples. Do you watch IPL? You know what is IPL?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm trying to figure out if I can explain that to you in terms of baseball or basketball. Okay, let's say basketball. I can relate a little bit. So let's say in a match, two players, player A and player B, scored some points, okay? And their points put together was 55. Okay, so two players from one team scored some points in a match, and sum of all their points was adding up to 55. So if I say player A scored X number of points, player Y scored Y number of points, because nobody has told us how much they scored. If I have to convert that statement into an equation, this is what it will be, isn't it? So two players from one team in a match together scored 55 points. See, that one line of story that you were telling me, or I was telling you about a match, that became an equation here. Yeah? So that is how it is. Every story that we talk about, you can convert that into an equation. So that is where that formula tran turns out to be very handy. Meaning, when you read a question in SAT prep, I have seen, in the SAT exam, whatever question paper I have seen so far, I see they ask a lot of word problems. Meaning, they will give you a situation, they will talk about a story, there will be 5-6 lines of statement which is in the form of a question. You have to read that, derive some interpretation from that, be it like an equation or whatever value is there, and then use that information, club that with your knowledge, and then solve it. So now let's look at second part of the question. So it says, in that match, player A, two players from one team together scored this many points. One of the players scored 10 points more than the other guy. Okay. Now tell me how much each one of them scored. Okay. So I'm just reading it. Okay. So right now when I'm repeating the question again, it's like you are reading it. Okay. In a basketball match, two players from one team together scored 55 points. One of the player who was doing better, he scored 10 points more than the other guy. Now tell me how much each of them scored. One of the guys scored 10 points more than the other guy. Okay. So let's say this guy is a better guy. Okay. So this guy scored 10 points more than the other guy. Yeah, that's what it is. Now tell me how much point each of the players scored. So from the second statement, I got this value. What I can do, I can substitute this value in place of x. So if I put this guy here, instead of x I will say y plus 10, and I have y already is 55. Now it becomes y, there are two y's, so y plus y 2y plus 10 equals to 55. Let me alter the question a little bit, okay, so that it looks realistic. Okay. So instead of 55 I will say 60, okay. Otherwise you will not believe me. Okay. Just for the sake of solving I am doing that, okay. Here now 2y plus y plus 10 is the value of x, because it says one of the guys scored 10 points but more than the other guy. So I converted that also into an equation. That statement or that story I converted into this equation. Now I am putting this story here in this first equation. Instead of x I am putting this value. I am just substituting this value there. Now this becomes my new equation. So 2y plus 10 equals to 60. So 2y equals 60 minus 10, 50. Y equals 25. So one of the guys scored 25. This guy scored 25. How much other guy scored? 25 plus 10? 35. Yeah. I mean, so here I don't really care much about the answer part. Okay. I would not really want to worry about that. But what I'm trying to tell here is, whatever was there in the equation, the question, that might look tricky, complicated, but when you read that again and again, you can convert that statement into an equation. There are two equations now based on the two statements, right? When you read that over and over again, this is what you found. And then you use, see this one is simplifying it now. If I have the value of x in the form of y, I can put everything in one place, and that gives me value of y. So value of y, this second player scored 25. How much the first player scored? 35. You can either calculate here or you can even add here. Yeah. So this is a typical word problem that you will deal with, and this is just the first example. We'll do more. I wanted to pause here and just do a quick recap of what all we have learned so far. We learned about the basic difference between equation and expression. That's one. Then we looked at, you help me recall. Let's see.
Oh, and then you get the types of equations.
Type of linear equations.
Linear equations.
Mm-hmm.
And then how to solve inequalities.
Mm-hmm.
And then word problems.
Yeah. And then we also tried altering the equation to get zero solution versus infinite solution. Yeah. What else is there? Let's see if there is the topic that is remaining. We can probably cover that today, and then tomorrow we'll only play with the sums.
Linear relationships.
Linear relationships. Okay. So basically, when you talk about a linear equation, you are essentially talking about the linear relationship, meaning relationship between two variables or three variables. Let's say if I'm talking about okay, so next class will start. So if I'm talking about this equation, it's a linear equation. Why linear equation? Because there's no power more than 1. It's power 1. Okay. When I'm talking about a linear equation, here we are talking about linear equation with two variables. Okay, x and y. And these two guys are related to each other. I cannot say in this equation the value of x is 10 and value of y is 5. I cannot assume like this. If value of x is 10, the value of y will be based on 10. If I say x is 10, 10 plus 3y equals 20. So now y equals 20 by So 20 minus 10 divided by 3. Yeah. So value of y is dependent on value of x. So there is a relationship between them. That's what is meant by relationship within a linear equation. Meaning in any linear equation, if you have more than one variable, they are related to each other. You cannot have a value for one of the variable being independent from the other guy. Okay, that's what is relationship here. Let's pause it here. Okay, I know there was an overdose of information. I was trying to cover a lot of things today so that tomorrow we can do practice, but that's okay. I mean, tomorrow we'll not have a lot of topics to cover. We'll focus more on practicing those sums. Okay, and I will kind of trouble you more. I will keep engaging you in between. I'll say, okay, you solve this. You tell me what this is. Okay, because when you get your hands dirty with the sum, that is when you will enjoy it more. Okay, so that's where we bring it to the end of the class.